My message to the crypto industry, I get it. You're a single issue voter. You're going to be with Donald Trump. He's at Pub Key, the very famous New York pub, buying hamburgers using Bitcoin. I get all that. But you want, trust me, for long-term stability, long-term durability in this industry, you want a bipartisan commitment to crypto. And you want people like me on her team helping her, because if she does win, it's going to be a very close election. If she wins, you want to make sure she comes to the center on crypto.
Scaramucci warns against crypto supporters becoming single-issue voters tied solely to Donald Trump, despite Trump's public promotion of Bitcoin. For the crypto industry to achieve long-term success, it needs bipartisan backing. He stresses that working with a diverse range of policymakers, even those initially opposed to crypto, is essential for ensuring that new laws are fair and sustainable. If Democrats fail to engage with crypto-friendly policies, Scaramucci believes it will be a political miscalculation. He highlights the efforts of advocacy groups touring swing states in the U.S. to rally crypto supporters, showing how crypto adoption could influence elections. In his view, the political future of crypto will depend on whether candidates align with the growing number of crypto voters.
Please take a little time to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos like this. You can also check out our other videos on cryptocurrencies and the overall digital asset space and drop your comments and observations in the comments section below. Everything you do helps with the YouTube algorithm and immensely contributes to the channel's growth. Thanks and enjoy the video.
It would be the Coinbase guys, Paul, the general counsel at Coinbase, Mark Cuban, Mike Novogratz. We've all have sat with, on various occasions, 3 or 4 occasions, with White House staff, people at Treasury, elected officials, including Senator Gillibrand and Khanna. And of course, I was on the Crypto for Harris Zoom call where Senator Schumer, the current Senate Majority Leader, said we're going to get positive cryptocurrency regulation / legislation either by the end of this year, which I do think is unlikely, but certainly in the next congressional term. And I pointed out from the stage here, which I'll share, is if you look at the voting on the Democratic side, over 70, they're voting against crypto.
Obviously.
Below 50, they're all voting for crypto. And so there's got to be a little bit of a demographic switch on the side of the Democrats to really make this work. You know, she's not the person that he says that she is. You know, the derogation of comments that he makes about her, she's certainly not that. And so, you know, my message to the crypto industry, I get it. You're a single issue voter. You're going to be with Donald Trump. He's at Pub Key, the very famous New York pub, buying hamburgers using Bitcoin. I get all that. But you want, trust me, for long-term stability, long-term durability in this industry, you want a bipartisan commitment to crypto. And you want people like me on her team helping her, because if she does win, it's going to be a very close election. If she wins, you want to make sure she comes to the center on crypto.
Lawrence Lepard discusses the decline of faith in fiat currencies, particularly among BRICS nations. He argues that countries holding their reserves in U.S. dollars feel economically disadvantaged, as the dollar system can erode wealth over time. As a result, these nations are looking for alternatives to fiat money. Lepard identifies Bitcoin, gold, and silver as the main assets outside the fiat system that could attract more global adoption.
I think what's really important is kind of what's happening under the surface, which is more and more countries, more and more of the BRICS participants are coming to realize that by, you know, storing wealth in dollars, they're being robbed. And therefore they are going to look for alternatives. And the natural alternatives, you know, there are really only 2 monetary alternatives, or 3 outside of the fiat world, and they are, you know, Bitcoin, gold, and silver. And so, you know, it's just a matter of time until I think more and more people migrate into the sound money camp, just as a matter of self-defense. I mean, people will always do what's in their own best interest and to protect themselves, and they should. You know, they definitely should. And so you can see it coming. But it's like all things. I mean, it takes time, and there are people who are completely blind to this. And certainly, I know in my experience, the people who've done extremely well in fiat terms in fiat land, they don't think anything's wrong. I mean, they're winning. I mean, they're like, monetary problem? We don't have a monetary problem. I'm like, no, of course you don't. Because you figured out a loophole how to get paid, $1 gazillion by shuffling paper around in the financial markets. But the average American, the average citizen of the world has a real monetary problem because, they're making less money and or the same amount of money, and everything they're buying costs a lot more. So, I mean, everyone's yelling at, well, this fire is this and we should do that. No, I mean, grab the friggin' fire extinguisher. It's going to really solve the problem,
Yeah.
And sound money is the fire extinguisher. I mean, the thing's burning down. We return to sound money. We've got great technology. We've got great people. We've got a country with a lot of things right about it. Obviously some history that's bad, but we can overlook, and we've grown through some of that. And let's go back to first principles of what made America great. And we can get there, but not if we continue to let the fiat lords run the place, because they're looting it. I mean, right? And we all pay for it. And sadly, a lot of people think that's normal. I lead off the book with this chart showing inflation from 1800 to present. And it's really fabulous because, it's this line that just kind of trickles along. You get a little bump in 1812, a little bump at the Civil War, a little bump at World War II. And then 71 happens, just go straight, it's like a rocket taking off. And, when we went off the gold standard and broke the money, I mean, it's the first instance of breaking the money. It set in motion a bunch of really bad stuff. And of course, the Keynesians have all, shit on and demonized gold in such a large way that, I mean, even mainstream people who are intelligent, think that the gold standard is a bad thing. I mean, if it's such a bad thing, how did we get to the end of World War II, the leading industrial country in the world with the highest moral standards in many respects, not perfect, but still, damn good compared to every place else, Russia, China, etc. And all on the gold standard, effectively. How do we get there? Do you know what I mean? And so, and then, what's changed from, 46 to present? Well, 46 to 71 was, relatively decent for the United States, but 71 to present, the biggest thing that changed is, we went off sound money. And that's the core problem, really.
Scaramucci remains confident in the resilience of the crypto industry. He compares it to the field of dreams metaphor. If you build a valuable system, people will come to use it regardless of political resistance. He notes that even though the industry faced setbacks such as China's crackdown on Bitcoin mining and the SEC's enforcement actions, it has continued to grow, driven by the strength of its technology.
Mike Novogratz says there's 85 million wallets. I don't know if that's true in the US. Coinbase said it was closer to 50. But let's use a low number. Let's say there's 40 million people of voting age in the United States that have a Bitcoin or some other form of cryptocurrency in a wallet. And let's say 5% of them are single issue voters.
Right.
Single issue voters. I know single issue voters. Some of my partners are single issue voters. So if there are 2 million people that are single issue voters and half of them go to the polls and they're in the right swing states, it could tip the election. And of course, this crypto lobbying group, I can't remember the name, they have this purple bus, red and blue make purple. They're driving around in the swing states trying to sign up single issue voters. That will help Trump. And so, I think it's a mistake that the Democrats haven't moved and haven't outwardly moved, but I think they will. And remember, she became the presumptive nominee last week of July. So imagine all the work that she's had to do. There's 48 days until the election. But July 21st, she's flipping pancakes for her nieces. She gets a call from Biden, I'm out, you're in. Now she's got to consolidate all those delegates. She's got to get herself to the convention, get the official nomination, and then prepare herself for a debate that's 12 days later. The headwind that this industry has faced for the last 5 years will be written about. Someone will say, how did that industry survive regulatory scrutiny in the U.S., regulation by enforcement by the SEC in the United States? How did that industry grow outside of that? knocking miners and Bitcoin out of China, second or tied for the first largest economy in the world. How did that industry grow? And the answer is, it's really good technology. It's a lot like the Field of Dreams. You build it, people understand it, they will come. And I want to ask you this question rhetorically. If I can set up a system where people can transact with each other quickly, and they can do it without third-party verification, where $7 trillion of the global economy is spent on payment transfers, verification, credit card industry, et cetera. But I can set up a system where now the money has caught up with the technology. It's moving at the speed of light, and it's moving without third-party verification because we can rely on the technology associated with the network. It's a long-winded way of saying it, but that's going to work, and that will make it, no matter who's in the Congress, who's at the SEC, what the Chinese government is saying, it'll make it, and it's represented here. You can see the representation here. So to me, I think it's very clear regulation on stable coins. I think that's very important for the United States, especially if you want to keep dollar supremacy. You got to explain to these policymakers having a stable coin ensures that. Okay, you know that Tether has more U.S. Treasury holdings than Germany and Japan. If you look at Treasury holdings,
I think they're 18th or 19th of Treasury holders
right
in the world, period.
So you want a stable coin denominated in U.S. dollar proliferating. So you got to get clarity on that regulation. The second thing is you need clarity on other tokenization. What is the real definition of a security versus what is a commodity? You can't have an Ethereum ETF and have Solana have the exact same properties, okay, in terms of decentralization, all of the same metrical analysis, call one a security and the other one a token. You can't do that and get the confidence of the industry. So we need clarity on that. And of course, we need a pro-business friendly environment in New York. And so that's got to also be done, not just at the Schumer level, that's got to be done at the state level and at the mayor's office.
Scaramucci identifies stablecoin regulation as a critical issue for maintaining U.S. dollar dominance. He stresses the importance of policy clarity to allow stablecoins to proliferate, particularly given that Tether already holds more U.S. treasuries than countries like Germany and Japan. Proper regulation of stablecoins, he argues, will strengthen the dollar's role in the global economy. Scaramucci calls for clearer definitions of securities and commodities in the crypto space. He highlights the inconsistencies between Ethereum and Solana, which are treated differently despite having similar properties. A uniform regulatory framework is necessary to instill confidence in both the industry and investors. Scaramucci also advocates for a more business-friendly environment in New York, both at the state and municipal levels, to encourage innovation and growth.
Please like and subscribe my channel.